Y'all, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be taking a look at Figma's Pokemon Marnie figure. Marnie first appeared as a rival character in Gen 8 of Pokemon, which was Sword and Shield, from 2019. Her name in Japanese is Mary, which is derived from rosemary, and possibly somehow connected with how it's written with the word demon in Japanese. In English, it's derived from a Middle English word for rosemary, rosmarine, or rosmarini, or rosemarnie. She's from the town of Spikemuth in the Galar region. She has a fan club called Team Yell that follows her around everywhere, as well as her Pokemon Morpeko, who is usually out of its Pokeball, walking around. And she is a big fan of catching all of her other Pokemon in Dusk Balls. As far as the box art, Figma does a great job with their boxes, and yeah, it shows you everything the figure can do and what's in the box, and that's pretty much it. But we're not here to talk about the box, so let's get this figure free from its plastic prison and see what we think about Marnie. All right, so fresh out the box, she looks fantastic. I mean, Figma does a great job with their figures usually across the board in general, but they've done a fantastic job with these Pokemon figures and just being really faithful to their likeness from the video game, so much so that like it just looks like it. I just like grabbed it out of the screen and just was like, all right, put it on the shelf. And yeah, they just do a great job with their figures, and this is another example of that. She looks just like her character from the game, and she has a decent heft ratio, I guess is the way to say it, to her frame and everything. She feels substantial, but she does feel frail given that she is a Japanese import figure based on a manga anime-esque line, and those tend to have a lot more thinner proportions, and which means that the figure is a little bit more frail and has doesn't have as much mass to it. And so there is that. But yeah, as far as first thoughts, the jacket is really cool. It's got some folds in it which catch the light and make the figure pop and look really good. And then all of the metal parts on it, the light reflects off the silver paint on the jacket enough to where it kind of draws your eye to it as well. However, I will say that like I kind of wish there was a little bit more fine detail on the jacket, because it looks fine. There's detail there. It's just and it's probably 100% accurate to the character design, but just from memory, I can't recall. But having it in hand, I kind of would have liked to have seen a little bit more tightness on it, like maybe like a little bit more precision with the detail, and especially on things like the buttons that are running down the right side of her jacket. And then on mine, it feels like the paint got a little I don't know, like it wasn't as precise on the collar buttons or rivets or whatever those buttons are. As you can see, it looks like the paint kind of like slopped off on the sides, and that kind of sucks. But at the same time, when you're looking at her on shelf, you can barely notice it, and it kind of just works with what it is. I mean, it could be far worse, but like I would have just liked a little bit more tightness on the paint and then the detail in those areas. She has a collar that's really cool, and the charm that's on there, it could probably use a little bit more detail, but it's not bad by any means. But then as far as the rest of the figure, I have no complaints. Her dress is really cool and nice and feels good, and it's got some folds in it too, and gives it a little bit of life with the way the light hits it. But my favorite thing as far as her outfit is concerned are her shoes. Now, based solely on design, I'm a big fan of them. Like, I think that they look cool, and with the spiked heel, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's just amazing. Like I'm like, I mean, I don't wear heels, but like if I did, like I'd probably want to try to wear some of these because they're kind of badass. And then with the pink sole underneath, oh my gosh, it's just, they look so cool and like at the same time like terrifying. I don't know, I'm really into them. And then her hair and her face look awesome. They look fantastic. The paint is excellent, and the detail in the hair is great. She's got some different ribbons in there and then some different color strands of hair going on, and the bangs look fantastic, and her eyes look cool. She just looks great. And so, yeah, all that considered, I'm pretty taken with this figure and very happy with what we've got so far and looking forward to get into this review. So Marnie comes with 3 interchangeable faceplates, 11 interchangeable hands, a backpack, a Morpeko figure in full belly mode, a Morpeko figure in hangry mode, a dusk ball, an articulated Figma stand, and a stand for Morpeko. All right, let's take a look at the articulation you're going to get out of Marnie. So you have 360 at the neck. She can look up a pretty good distance. She can look down just a little bit, and she can do side to side. She also has a little bit of articulation right there on a hinge, and it can swivel as well. Her, I guess they're pigtails. But yeah, there's that. Her arms can go out that far. They have 360 at the shoulder and at the elbow, as well as the wrist. And she has a joint at the elbow. And the wrists are on a hinge as well. And it can go 360 too. And then she has an ab rocker. I guess that's what that's called, where she can just, wiggle around. Her legs can go out pretty far. The dress does kind of hinder it, but she can kick. She's got pretty good distance with her legs. She's got joints at the knees, and she has a ball joint, whatever joint they call this, at the ankle that gives her 360 as well as front to back. And there you go. There's the articulation you're going to get out of Marnie. According to the internet, she stands somewhere between 4.5 and 5 feet tall, and I'm not going to make a guess on her weight. This figure stands at just over 5 inches tall and weighs around 2 ounces. Now let's see how she measures up to some other figures you might have in your collection. Here she is with NECA's Count Von Count and NECA's Return to New York Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4-pack Leonardo. Here she is with Hasbro's Marvel Legends Storm and Jada Toys Street Fighter Dhalsim. Here she is with McFarlane's DC Multiverse Clock King and Jada Toys Mega Man Cutman. Here she is with Mattel's Masterverse Hordak and Hasbro's Fortnite Shadow Meowscles. Here she is with SH Figuarts Jesse and James. Here she is with the Bandai Model Kit Gardevoir and SH Figuarts Ash. Here she is with the 2 Figma Morpekos that she also comes with. Here she is with some smaller Pokemon figures. Here she is with some of the more larger Pokemon figures. Here she is with the Jazzwares Epic Battle Gyarados and the Snorlax Piggy Bank figure. Here she is with the D-Arts Blastoise and Charizard. Here she is with the Pokemon Select Golisopod and Typhlosion. And here she is with Celine and Gloria from Figma. I remember seeing the promo stuff for Sword and Shield and thought to myself, I'm on whatever side she's on. Her style and character just appealed to me. A gothy alternative punker chick is kind of my thing. And Figma did another amazing job. She looks just like she walked off the screen, and you can't ask for much more than that. I think they nailed the look. They make great figures, so this figure feels fantastic and moves like butter and is a lot of fun to pose and get in different dynamic situations and whatnot. But given Marnie's demeanor and her character, she's usually very stoic, and having her just stand there with a very chill pose that's very vanilla still exudes the coolness that she has in her character, and that translates into the figure, and I absolutely love that. Figma always does a great job giving us lots of hands and different faces, and all of these are great. I love the inclusion of the Pokeballs, though, with this line, because they're just essential to this series, but it's very tiny, and I'll probably not mess with it too much, but I'm still very happy it's included. I kind of sort of wish that they would have included a hand that had a Pokeball in it so that I didn't have to worry about losing the Pokeball. And that would be really cool if they did that. But regardless, I'm still happy that one is included. The backpack is really nice as well. It's tiny, but like cool. And I love the juxtaposition of the pink and the black. It just works so well. And I just love these little things that Figma does, especially in this line with the characters' backpacks and purses and whatnot. I don't know. It's something weird that I didn't think I'd be like, oh, that's probably like one of my favorite parts of the figure. But here we are, and I've got 3 of them so far, and those are my favorite pieces on the figure, usually. And this is no different. And I absolutely love the inclusion of buddy Pokemon with these figures. I wish Figma would fully lean into this line, though, and give us more Pokemon figures. But, you know, yes, they are expensive, but I think you're getting your money's worth. And I would much rather do that than have subpar figures, if that makes any sense. Like I said earlier, she's a lot of fun to pose like most Figma characters are. They're just designed in a really cool way that is very similar to how Western figures are. So like if you're used to Marvel Legends stuff, this isn't too far removed from that. Whereas like Revoltech and some of the other import figures have weird joints that are kind of hard to maneuver. The only thing is that she's very tiny and can feel very frail. So the joints that connect all the parts, they might break, but Figma does include extra ones usually with their figures. So there's that, but she's a lot of fun to pose, and she feels like an actual action figure as opposed to some weird statue that you're like manipulating. Although the difference is that sometimes in the shoulders especially, you have characters that like there's a gap there because they're meant to be posed in either in a vanilla pose or a dynamic pose. And sometimes the in-between there, you can see some weird spots. But thankfully, her jacket helps to hide some of those weird joints. But that makes up for some weird awkwardness when posing. You just gotta like, oh yeah, no, I might need to move the arm a little closer or whatever. Kind of like learning a different language that's very similar to the one you already know. She works extremely well with the other figures from this Pokemon line, as well as the SH Figuarts Pokemon figures of Team Rocket and Ash. She also works great with the Jazzwares Pokemon too, which is one of my favorite things about collecting Pokemon is mixing and matching these lines. But your mileage may vary with other lines. I think she works well enough with other video game characters from Figma and SH Figuarts, but overall, I think she can work with a lot of different lines just on a figure-to-figure basis because she kind of looks like an anime manga character, but she also kind of can blend into some scenes too. It just depends on what you're trying to do. Overall, my only problem I had with this figure was switching out the hands. The extended jacket part that covers the hand was super annoying to manipulate to get the hand back in there because you don't want to break these figures because they're expensive and they're so tiny and frail. But in saying that, I'm not saying that they break easily, but because they are sturdy, but still it's hard to get your hands in there to do it. It's tricky sometimes, but it can be done. Just have to be patient and not overcorrect and over exert yourself switching out these parts. Just know that if you are switching out our hands, the jacket part is very annoying. So you'll want to do it over a table and not like just where it can fall and lose that piece. But other than that, I am a huge fan of this figure and this line and this character. I think Figma did a fantastic job here and absolutely love this figure. So if you collect Pokemon trainer figures, then you definitely need this. If you collect video game characters, she meets those qualifications as well. If you have a shelf dedicated to punky characters, she could totally work there. Or if you have a shelf dedicated to characters wearing leather jackets, either way, you can't go wrong with Figma's Marnie. All right, well, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to see more from me, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments who's your favorite trainer and which trainer do you want to see Figma put out next. Let me know in the comments, and until then, else time.